The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition. It is Thursday, June 26th, 2014. Tonight's live edition, I'm going to be going over gun freedom. Now, I got into this a little bit last night, second hour. I talked about gun control, and I dismantled and debunked the tyrant-in-chief, super tyrant, up in Washington. He came out the other day and said, what? We need Australian-style gun control here in the United States. It's worked so wonderfully in Australia, except it hasn't worked so wonderfully in Australia. So I went over that last night, talked a little bit about gun control in South Africa. And tonight's show wasn't an impromptu thing. I did have my guest lined up for a couple weeks now, but it was just very synchronistic. Last night's broadcast was not, I did not do it as a setup for tonight, but it's just the way the universe works, I guess you could say. And I knew I was going to be having my guest on tonight. And it's very important that I talk about the subject we're going to talk about tonight. What is that subject? Well, it's gun freedom. It's kind of a large subject, though, wouldn't you say? I don't think that gun freedom, the term gun freedom is kind of like an umbrella term, I would say. It encompasses a lot of freedoms when it comes to guns. The right to have a gun to defend yourself. You know, a lot of people see people going to the range and stuff and shooting, getting good, maybe doing tricks or whatever, and they say, oh, they just shoot for sport and stuff. Well, yeah, that is true to a certain extent. Some people do shoot for fun and just for some, release or stress relief or sport. But at a basic level, those skills that they've acquired, whether it be drawing from the hip without, looking, speed shooting clays, 7 or 8 clays in 2 or 3 seconds with a shotgun, all of that stuff is training. So that if they are ever in a self-defense situation, that's really when that's going to count. I mean, shooting, clays and shooting targets and competition shooting, that's all well and good. And that's all fun and stuff, and you get some cool trophies and medals. But the skills that they're learning are self-defense skills. Very, very, very advanced in some cases self-defense skills, but they're still self-defense skills nonetheless. Okay? And it's important for people to have the right to be able to defend themselves. Now, in this day and age, with the calls for gun control and it's for the kids, It's outrageous. It's just ridiculous to think that if you gave up anything that you had to protect yourself with, you would be more safer. That does not make any sense. I mean, if you think about it, if you gave up the 4 walls and the roof of your house, which keeps you safe from the elements, right, to a certain extent, would you be more safer if you were out in the elements, exposed to the elements? If you took away the walls because maybe someone's house collapsed on them, so now we need house bans, house control? We can't have houses just collapsing. What if the walls fall in? You see how you could do this with anything? Anyway, so my guest tonight, I'm excited to have him on because he represents a group of individuals who not only talk the talk, ladies and gentlemen, but these people actually walk the walk, quite literally. They go out and they literally interact with the public with weapons strapped to them. What? Yes, they openly carry their firearms because it's legal. In many states, it's actually very legal to open carry. What? No, Popeye, this is 2014. This isn't the Wild West. No, actually, it's the truth. Just like most states have concealed weapons laws. Most people, I know a lot of people that are surprised to find out, like, I know people that I guess that would consider themselves hardcore liberals here in Florida that are surprised to find that more than half the population of Florida has a concealed weapons permit, or at least half the population of Florida has a concealed weapons permit. I'm sure it's more than half, but I know people that have lived down here for years, and that when they found that out, they freaked. Well, I don't know if I could still live in this state. Are you kidding me? Everybody around me has a gun? Yeah, and you've been fine so far, so your irrational fear is just that, irrational. So when I see people going out and practicing open carry and interacting with the public with their rifles, pistols, whatever, shotguns, strapped to their back, strapped to their hip, it's good. Some people might say, oh, well, that's a bit extremist, you're going to scare people. Well, why is it extremist to practice a right that is already out there, that you already have? Why is that extremist? Because a percentage, and not all of the public, but a percentage of the general public is afraid irrationally of firearms. So because of an irrational fear, you should stow your rights. You start doing that, you lose them. Once you give up your rights, you don't get them back. It's not like, okay, you can have this right for now, we'll get it back later. No, you give it up, it's gone. If you don't practice it, it's gone. So when you see people walking around open carrying, they're not trying to scare you, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you don't like guns, they're not trying to scare you. They're trying to shake you out of your paradigm. They're trying to wake you up. If you look at the much deeper level of what they're doing, it's not about walking around with their toys. And of course, the mainstream media will always frame things when they interview or cover it, and they might interview somebody for 15 minutes and use a 10-second soundbite to fit their narrative, okay? And they use more visual than anything else. So when you see somebody wearing a Don't Tread on Me shirt with an AR-15 strapped to their back standing on a street corner, it might scare you because you're told by the mainstream media that they're militia or that they're crazy gun owners and they want to kill people. But that's just not the truth. It's not. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to bring my guest up because after you get a chance to hear my guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you will see, just like anybody else that interacts with the open carry groups, that they are not evil. They are not the devil incarnate. They're normal human beings. And what they're doing is they're trying to get you to shake an irrational fear of a firearm off. That's what they're trying to do. If you want to look at a much deeper level, what these people are doing is they're getting you to face reality. That yes, this is already legal and acceptable, and it's a right that I have. So your fear is irrational. I know a lot of people think that the open carry movement, I know I have friends on both sides of the fence with it. Some people think it's great, some people don't think it's great. They think maybe there could be a better way about doing things. And that's semantics, I think, to a certain extent, because you can tweak things. But you could tweak your approach to things, but I think the basic premise of standing up for your right with your gun strapped to your back, even if it's unloaded or whatever the rules are of openly carrying, what loaded or unloaded, you shouldn't be afraid of somebody walking around with a loaded gun. Well, they have a gun, but it's just a tool. Who says they're going to use it? The gun's not talking to the person's ear going, psst, kill this guy. Cops walk around with guns all the time. That's perfectly acceptable. And they're actually more dangerous than the general public with a firearm. I don't see stories every day of individuals shooting their neighbors' dogs willy-nilly with guns, but I certainly see cops killing dogs every day and killing innocent civilians with guns. So who should you be more afraid of walking around with a firearm in public? The bully that's affiliated with a gang that's got an endless supply of your tax dollars and that feels that he could do whatever he wants whenever they want? Or the citizen who's just like you, who just wants to protect himself? Who's more scary with the firearm? I say the first one. But anyway, let me get to my guest tonight. So, my guest tonight is from Open Carry Tarrant County in Texas. They work with Open Carry Texas. They're not. I don't want to say they're not affiliated. They work with them, but they're a separate group. You know, they each have their own little groups, and these guys go out on the street. They do street actions. They walk around with their firearms strapped to their hips, strapped to their back, whatever, bringing this open awareness to the subject, bringing attention to it, interacting with police too, and that's important too. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're just trying to goad the cops into a fight or something like that." No, and no. It's important that these police who don't understand the very rules that they're supposed to be enforcing, it's important for them to understand the reality of the situation, and it's important for them to understand the real law and people's rights. And if interacting with an informed citizen does that, then so be it. Anyway, let me welcome to the broadcast from Open Carry Tarrant County. That's a tongue twister. Open Carry Tarrant County, Mr. Kory Watkins. Kory, welcome to the broadcast, brother.
I appreciate you having me on and bringing me in for the evening, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you doing what you're doing. That's why I kind of give it a little bit of a long-winded intro there. You know, I really meant what I said.
You didn't get any better than that intro.
Well, I meant what I said, brother. I mean, you guys really, what you're doing is shattering this irrational fear. You and I were talking about this off air a little bit. What you're doing is shattering this complete irrational fear that people have. That, you know, oh my God, guns are scary, Kory. What should we do? That guy's got open carrying, you know, he's openly carrying a firearm in public. What should I do? So first, before we get into it, because we have 2 hours, so we got plenty of time, I want you to take a few minutes, introduce yourself to the listeners, and tell them a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in the open carry movement and actually having the courage to strap your firearm on your hip and go out there.
Well, first of all, I'm in Texas, Mansfield area, DFW area, and I'm just fortunate to be in this area, the Tarrant County area, because we have a bunch of liberty-minded people in this area. Anyways, what brought me into this whole thing, I've, 4 or 5 years ago, I was just researching, doing some independent research and studying and stuff, and I've just been one of those, all along, always been an outside-of-the-box thinker, but wasn't ever awake. But anyways, I just started doing some independent research and some studies and stuff, and I just ran into some things that concerned me about the federal government and some of those things. And so talking it over with one of my buddies one time, and he told me to check out this guy named Ron Paul. And I was like, all right, well, I'll check him out. And that kind of just changed my life. Let's put that very simple. Ron Paul did a number on me. He introduced me to what liberty and freedom really is, what our founding fathers really intended. And he cured my apathetic ways. So I got involved in the whole delegate process. I ran for precinct chair in the Republican Party, which is a very small position in the party. But I wanted to try to get involved. That way I could put myself in a position where tyranny wouldn't be. I actually won my race this time around. I got 60% of the vote, so I'm an elected official now. So I'm just trying to install myself any way possible that I can to make change. I'm not a huge fan of your normal Republicans, so to say, but I understand that it's a two-party system and it's jacked up, so I want to try to install myself into a party that best fits my way and that I can have a bigger impact quicker rather than a smaller party that may not get as much showing and media attention, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, going through all this process and stuff, I've come across all these problems, and I was thinking, well, there's so many problems, I better just hit up one or two of them and try to tie my focus into one or two things, because if I spread them out over a bunch of different things, I won't be getting anything done. So gun rights is very important to me. I started looking into the laws here in Texas, and of course we're behind and all that, and I was totally behind what we had a bill last time around. It was HB 700, which would allow you to open carry your handgun in Texas if you had a CHL, because right now you can only carry a handgun concealed if you have your concealed handgun license, and that's not what I want necessarily with the CHL and open carry, but it's a step in the right direction. So I was in support of it, just to see what we could get out of it. Over I guess, I don't know what, 4 or 5 month period of calling representatives and doing stuff, they pretty much slid the bill under the rug, and we didn't get anything but 1 or 2 little pro-Second Amendment bills passed, and, you know, they were raving about, oh, we got this pro-Second Amendment gun bill passed. It was a bill where if you're a concealed handgun license owner or a concealed handgun license, you can accidentally expose your gun and you won't be in trouble anymore. You won't be a criminal. And I was like, really? That's it? I mean, you know, so anyways, over a period of time, my interest in gun rights have sparked up. But what really set this whole movement off is the arrest of C.J. Grisham down in Temple, Texas. We already had a bunch of people frustrated because of the HB 700 and them ignoring people that wanted to open carry. But after the C.J. Grisham thing, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard about this, but I'll run real quick through it. He was down there in Temple, Texas with his son, who's a Boy Scout. They were on a 10-mile hike. I can't really remember the purpose for it, but it was something to do with his son's scouts. They were trying to complete something. So about halfway through the walk, some lady called the police department and told them there was a gentleman out there walking with a rifle. So the police showed up, and if you can go to YouTube and watch the video, just type in C.J. Grisham Temple dash cam video. You can check out his video that he recorded, and then he handed the video camera to his son because he got arrested. You can see it from one angle, and then you can see it from the other angle, the dash cam video, and that's the really good video to get because you see the police officer walk up to CJ and grab his rifle immediately on his chest and yank it away from him. And CJ is kind of confused at what the officer is doing by grabbing his weapon. So CJ kind of is like, hey, and he grabs it back, and that's when the officer pretty much throws CJ on the hood of his car, pulls out his pistol, and is pointing at the back of his head. We had a big problem with that here in Texas, and that sparked something pretty cool. The open carry movement here in Texas. I think it was don'tcomply.com. A couple people in that group, Come and Take It Texas and all them, they put together a walk for CJ down there, and that kind of sparked everything. Open Carry Texas was born. All these different groups across Texas were born. And we started, planning walks once a month. I did my first open carry walk shortly after the Temple Walk in Fort Worth. I was with CJ and a bunch of the people that have, started this whole movement. So I decided, hey, let's put a little group here in Tarrant County together, and let's just start educating the people here in Tarrant County and work with everybody else across the state that needs help, and whatever we can do to push the cause to further gun rights here in Texas, to get open carry, to normal guns, to make guns normal here in Texas. We need to do that, and we need to, there's so much lack of education, whether it's the normal citizen, whether it's the police officer, and even our elected officials. We need to get back to what our founders intended, what the Second Amendment really means. And so that's why we started all these open carry walks. The illegal arrest of C.J. Grisham, the the legislator here in Texas ignoring the people of Texas that want open carry, and the lack of education and knowledge of the people here in Texas. That, in my lifetime, in my parents' lifetime, we've never seen open carry. So a lot of people think it's just something very awkward and weird. But what's really awkward and weird is how far we've gotten away from liberty and freedom, what our founders intended. And what's even weirder is 33 other states have open carry with no license. So it's not anything new or out of the ordinary. But Open Carry Tarrant County started, it was one of the first groups. We called ourselves Come and Take It Tarrant County at first, and then we went to Open Carry Tarrant County. But we're the most active group. We walk 3 times a week, if not more. We hand out a ton of literature. I mean, I can't even count how many open carry walks I've been on, how many people I've open carried with, how many people support our cause, how many people have come out and taken pictures with us and videos, how many people have just expressed their gratitude for what we're doing and for what we're standing up for. It's great. It's a good cause. It's a good movement. I'm really proud to be a part of it, and that's kind of the gist of how we started and why we did it. We have thousands of over 2,500 something members in our Facebook page now, and that's kind of how it started.
And I remember that incident where that you're talking about, where he was arrested and slammed down on the hood of his car. This the video went viral. People literally all over the country got pissed off. But what you guys are doing in response to that is amazing. See, this is what I consider to be a solution, like a real positive, ground-based solution. Not a reaction. It's actually a real solution. What you're trying to do is rather than screaming and yelling and that cop should be fired. And don't get me wrong, cops that have used their power should totally be held accountable and lose their jobs without a shadow of a doubt. But that doesn't solve the problem. That's like dealing with that symptom of the problem, because what that occurrence, that incident it was a symptom of a much larger problem, right? And I think what you guys are doing is actually positively attacking the problem itself, not just the symptom. You're not going after the one cop, because that would, again, just be a symptom. You're going after the whole idea of open carry is completely legal and you shouldn't be afraid, so we're going to do it more often so more people see it. Because like you said, not a lot of people of your generation, and even maybe some generations a little bit older than you, are used to seeing people walking around with an AR-15 strapped to their back. But when my father was a kid, my dad's in his 70s. When he was a kid, he used to take his shotgun, and this is in New Jersey, a highly anti-gun state. Okay, anybody that knows anything about New Jersey knows it's just ridiculous with their gun laws. When my dad was a kid in Jersey, he used to go down to the Meadowlands with his shotgun before school, and they used to go hunting swamp rats and stuff, or whatever else they would shoot at and hunt and do whatever, and then he'd go to school. And kids of his age, that was normal for them to run around with a little shotgun or a little .22 rifle or whatever. It wasn't considered, oh my God, they're going to Columbine a whole, you know what I mean? It wasn't crazy. It wasn't this irrational fear. So what you guys are doing, going out on the street, that's amazing. And I didn't realize you guys were doing 3 actions a week. That's incredible. How many people do you get out for each action on an average?
Well, when we first started doing this, we had about 4 or 5 people come out, and then it started just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And first, we only did it once a month, and I was thinking, man, if we do these once a month, that means we're going to walk only 12 to 15 times. I mean, are we going to be really, effective enough to reach out to that many people and change that many hearts and change that many minds? I was like, nope, not going to happen. So we went to once a week. And then it started picking up. It was like big snowball, man. We had 30, 40 people, 50, 60, 70 coming out on walks, and I was like, damn, we probably ought to go to, 2 times a week. And then we just decided, you know what, people are randomly making walks on Thursdays, so why not go to a Thursday walk? So we're doing 3 times a week, and some people are like, well, I think 3 times a week is affecting the number of people that are showing up on the walks. And I said, well, that's true, but I don't really think how many people we're getting out on a walk is really what matters. What matters is the message we're getting out and how many people we can get it out to. So if we're going on walks 3 times a week, we're going to be educating a bunch of people. And we've been learning and adjusting some things. You know, we've been adjusting to the negative media. We've been adjusting to the gray area with the police departments. We've been adjusting to how the public perceives us because what the media tells them to believe in. We've been adjusting to all this. So, you know, in our group is the Open Carry Texas movement, the Open Carry movement in Texas. We're all a bunch of raw, uncut, patriotic people who don't really do political correctness, I guess, if you will. So we have to kind of tweak and learn some of the things, but still stand on principle and not compromise where we're giving into what, you know, what their agenda is. But 3 times a week, man, we got to do it. You know, we only have a certain amount of time until the next legislature rolls around. We're obviously being effective because the establishment hates us. We're all over the news.
If you weren't effective,
so
they wouldn't have
right.
to. If you guys weren't effective, they wouldn't have to demonize you and regular gun owners the way they do, and neither would the media. And if you guys were ineffective, they could just let you just run your own pace, and it wouldn't matter. But obviously, what you're doing is a powerful message. I'm going to pause this right there, Kory, because the break is sneaking up. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. When we get back, I'm going to have Kory tell you how you can get involved with Open Carry if you're in Texas and in other states. Maybe he might know too. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking with Kory Watkins this evening. Again, a member of Open Carry Tarrant County. Go check out the website, Open Carry Tarrant. I can't get that word out of my mouth tonight. I think I need to go back to the store and get a new pair of lips. Anyway, opencarrytarrant.com. Go check it out. Opencarrytarrant.com is the website itself. Open Carry Tarrant is also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'll have Kory plug all of that stuff. But as he does that, I'm going to throw this to him so he can plug it and then lead it into the answering this question. And I was chatting with him off air. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Kory's the real deal. You take it for what it's worth. You don't have to believe my opinion, but I'm sure most of you respect my opinion to a certain degree. Kory's the real deal. And I, like we were chatting off air, that's one of the reasons his message, and the message, not so much his message, but the message that him and others are out there, these real individuals, they're out there just putting out into the public eye. It resonates with people because they're real. Yeah, they might not be politically correct and they might tweak themselves a little bit here or there to try to reach more people, but they are not really being politically correct. They're playing the game and they're playing it smartly. But everything aside, Kory is a real deal good guy, and I'm just honored to have him on the broadcast. So I wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, I'm going to have him plug how you guys, if you're in Texas, I want you, if you have a gun, if you own a gun, just a single gun, and you live in Texas, you need to take part in this. Because this involves your rights. Even if you don't have a gun, it involves your rights. But if you have a gun, obviously, then you could participate in Open Carry. Unless you want to go get a super soaker, and then you could probably participate. But that would probably look stupid, so I wouldn't suggest doing that. So if you have a firearm, and you live in Texas, look around your local area. I'm going to have Kory tell you a little bit more information in a second, how to get involved if you're in Texas. If you're in Tarrant County, contact them through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Get out there and support these guys. Okay, and these women too. It's men and women, not just guys. I know that there are women that support gun rights too. So, want to be fair. Anyway, let's go back to Kory. I'm going to have him plug everything: Twitter, Facebook. Again, the website is opencarrytarrant.com. Go there, check it out. And Kory, you can plug all the social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything else. You guys have a YouTube channel, anything that you have. Put all the information out there. And then, how can people that are in Texas get involved with Open Carry Texas or Open Carry Tarrant County itself?
Yes, that's the most important thing, is just getting involved. And getting involved, you don't necessarily have to come on a walk with us, but just be engaged. That way, when we need a phone call, an email, or a tweet, or a Facebook message on a certain legislator's page to remind them or to notify them of what we want, and we can all do that. If our legislators don't hear from us, we're not going to get what we want. That's I don't like the politics. Unfortunately, that's just the way we're going to have to go about doing business and getting things done. So with that being said, if you live, or let's get this out of the way first. If you don't have a gun, you can still come on the walk. Because we have come and take it flags. We have don't tread on me flags. We have Texas state flags you can carry. Or if you don't want to carry anything, just walk with us. We have people that come on our walks unarmed and just walk with us because they support the cause. So if you live in this world and you're on Facebook, show us some love. Go to Open Carry Tarrant County. We have a main group page where you can get into the group and talk and mingle with everybody. And we also have a fan page, one that you can like and keep up with. All you have to do is search for Open Carry Tarrant County on Facebook. That's our Facebook way of doing it. If you are in the state of Texas and you want to get involved, look onto Open Carry Texas Facebook and get involved in one of their county groups. If they don't have one of those county groups, get with somebody, CJ Grisham, one of the lead people on the Open Carry Texas, or get with me. I'll send you to them. I know everybody over there. Good friends with all of them. I'll get you hooked up and get your own county going so you guys can lead some walks there. If you're in Tarrant County, get with me. Get with the Open Carry Tarrant County group on Facebook. We need you out walking with us. We need you out supporting us. If you don't want to walk, that's fine. Be ready to email and phone and tweet and Facebook our representatives to let them know where we stand. We need people getting involved. Whatever way you want to get involved, that's fine. Just do it. I believe in liberty and freedom, so I'm not going to push how I think people should get involved on other people. I'm going to let you decide on how you want to get involved. Just do something, please. We need help. You can get on Twitter. If you're a tweeter, you can do Open Carry TC. That's our Twitter, at Open Carry TC, and the TC's for Tarrant County. You can get on our webpage, which you've already blasted that a couple times, opencarrytarrant.com. You can email us, opencarrytc@yahoo.com. And then we have a bunch of cool videos on our YouTube channel that you can check out because we document all of our walks. So you can check out our police interactions, how they've changed from the beginning to what they are now. I mean, it's been incredible. I don't mean to jump off topic right now, but, we used to go walking at first and we were maybe going to get shot. Now we walk and the cops respect us and shake our hands and say thank you. It's changed. It's incredible in a short amount of time how much it's changed. But the YouTube channel is Open Carry Tarrant County. You can just search for that and you'll find it on YouTube. We got an Instagram recently. You can just go on Instagram and do hashtag Open Carry. Promise you'll find us real easy like that. But that's kind of the ways to get involved with us. We're out doing these walks and we're educating people, and that's a very important process to get people plugged into our groups. That way they can start walking with us, or they can just start getting our message that we're putting out there, and they can relay it back to their friends and their families. If I tell one person something that's very interesting to them, they're going to tell 10 people, and those 10 people will tell 10 people, and the message spreads. There's an info war going on right now. The media is telling people one thing, the agenda, the establishment, they're all on one side, and we, the people, we have to relay a different message to maybe the minds that are in the middle, kind of lost and confused. We have to snatch them out of it and pull them to our side and get them to realize what liberty and freedom is really about. Get them away from believing and being conditioned by their television to have the same thoughts and feelings that their TV is broadcasting to them. We want people to have their own independent thoughts and to be educated. So it's very important to pull people in. And, if they're not walking, that's fine. At least they're on our page and they can get to see what we're talking about. And maybe they'll pick up the phone. Just maybe they'll pick up the phone and call a representative and just tell them, hey, I support constitutional carry. And, we need people getting involved here. It's up to us to do something. Our founders put a pretty brilliant piece of work in place here. The way we do government, legislation, our Constitution, all that is brilliant. And it's up to us to keep our republic. We haven't done that. We've become apathetic, and we've lost it. But it's still there. If we want it, we can get it back. We just have to get involved. So we want as many people as possible, and that's why we have all these routes to connect with us. Some people don't like Facebook, or some people may call it NSA book. Some people don't like to tweet. And that's fine. We got email, we got website. However you think you want to be involved, please get involved with us.
And I urge the people in Texas, if even if you're not in Texas, there's other open carry groups in other states. Just I wouldn't know exactly every state that has one. In fact, one of the listeners, Chris Steiner, good friend, longtime listener, member of We Are Change, just all around awesome guys in the chat. He threw in a link earlier that there's a Open Carry Florida, so go check that out if you're here in Florida. Just go on whatever search engine of choice and type in Open Carry, whatever your state is, and then I'm sure if there's websites or groups, it'll come up, and then you can research it from there. And if you own a firearm, go check it out. If you believe in firearm freedoms, even if you don't own a firearm, go check it out. And if you're in Texas, especially, go check them out. And I think that's awesome, Kory, that people come and join the marches and go on the walks with you guys that don't even have guns. Because that shows that just because they don't have a firearm, they can't, it shatters that paradigm that they put out there, the powers that shouldn't be in the media, that if you don't have a gun, then gun rights don't really mean anything to you. When you have people that don't maybe have guns, or maybe they do, they just don't want to flaunt it, but some people that may not have firearms but still believe in the rights anyway, that's a powerful message. That means you're reaching out to people. I mean, that's the exact reason what you're doing is a grassroots solution. Instead of cowering and going, oh my God, the cops, they're violating the law, but I'm not going to do anything about it. No, you're like, no, F this. Everybody strap on your ARs, strap on your Glock, let's roll. And everybody goes out there. And I really think it's important to actually focus on something that you mentioned, and I don't think it was a getting off topic at all. Actually, one of the most important things we could talk about is your interaction with the police. And how it has evolved from your very first interactions where maybe they weren't so good to the current day interactions where maybe the police are starting to understand liberty a little more. I mean, just the fact that if you interact with a cop and at first he's a dick to you and threatens maybe to shoot you or is scared of you or whatever, and then maybe you have an interaction with the same cop months later and his mindset is completely different. Like he's woken up because maybe he left that situation and went, well, did I handle that right? Did I maybe approach these people the right way? And maybe he went home and as an individual in his off time did some research, and maybe, just maybe, you've changed that individual's mindset, which is how we're going to get our country back, how we're going to, not even so much our country, how we're going to get our world back, how we're going to get humanity back, undumbing everybody down, pulling them out of the matrix, so to speak. And it's one mind at a time. Sometimes you can grab multiple minds, 10, 20, 30, but that's very powerful if you can have an interaction with a police officer that initially is negative and you can either turn it into a positive or later on down the road, their attitude towards you is much different. You're educating them. Just like I say all the time, people, we get mad at the cops because of what they do and the brutality you see on TV, but going at them with anger is just going to fuel the problem and perpetuate the cycle of garbage. Whereas if we went at them and we try to educate them and change the way they think, that's actually a real world solution. So I'll give the floor back to you. Get into your first initial interactions with the police when you guys first started doing this, and then leading up to how they are different now. I mean, I'm sure they're used to seeing you guys, right?
Most definitely used to, especially here in Tarrant County. If you walk here, or even in Dallas County now, for that matter, we've done so many walks with the OCT Dallas County group, and even before they were there, we were walking in Dallas. But if you walk here in Dallas-Fort Worth area now with a rifle or a shotgun, you won't be questioned. It's called freedom, and that's what we've installed here. And the first time I ever went on a walk, it was an adrenaline rush because I didn't know what the hell to expect. I just saw my friend, or not my friend now, but I didn't know him at the time, C.J. Grisham. I just saw him have a pistol to the back of his head on a cop car, probably with the history of cops that we've had lately, could have gotten killed very easily. Somebody could have got trigger happy there. So, going out on my first walk, man, it was an adrenaline rush. It was in Bedford, Texas. We went out there. I stood on an overpass. I had my AK-47 with me. We actually had called the police department and gave them a kind notice just to say, now we don't ask for permission when we call, we just let them know what we're doing. Then we did a lot of this in the beginning, that way there wasn't any confusion when somebody called and said, hey, there's a dude here with a gun. That way we didn't have 15 SWAT cars down there drawing with ARs on us. We want to try to make it as normal as possible. That way the police already know, okay, well, these guys called, they told us they have guns, and they're just going to be walking around. We'll just go in the area. And so that's what we did. And surprisingly, on my first open carry, the Bedford police were actually pretty good. They didn't really bother us that much. They kind of hung in the area. There was 5 or 6 of them. Cop cars kind of surrounded us. I would say that's over the top now, but back then, I don't know, with the gray area and everything, it was real weird. For me even. And so we had about, I don't know, maybe 10 people standing on the bridge, just massive amounts of pictures and videos being taken. We had I-30 stopped on a traffic jam. I mean, there was people just stopped. It looked like a massive car wreck was down the road, but it was us. So, we hung out there for about an hour or whatever, and I think the next week I went on my second open carry walk in the stockyards in Fort Worth. And that was fine. We were mingling with people down there, and everything was great. And then on the way home, I was talking to my wife, and I said, hey, you want to go up here in Mansfield? I live in Mansfield, and I said, hey, let's go up here to the, we have like a Bed Bath & Beyond, a Kirkland's, a Best Buy, and all that stuff lined up right next to each other, Petco and all that. I said, let's go for like a window stroll. Just walk down, the little area. And so we got out, and we were mingling with people, and I had my AK on my shoulder. I was talking to a guy that was adopting a dog like nothing was wrong. He didn't even question me about my gun. And Mansfield PD rolls up 10 minutes later, and you can see this video on my YouTube. I actually have a bunch of YouTube videos. If you just search for Kory Watkins, Kory, you'll find me on YouTube. But we were basically illegally detained for 15 minutes, and the officer was trying to tell me what I was doing was against the law, and that he was going to arrest me. And long story short, I basically just told him what the law was. I was being calm and collective as possible, and asserting my rights and trying to let them know what the laws were. And after 15 minutes, I think he finally realized, after talking to his supervisors and stuff, that he was in the wrong. And they had about 4 or 5 officers out there with us talking, and I don't know how I've not been arrested yet. Through all the open carry walks and all the stuff that I've done, I don't know how I've just been. I just haven't been arrested. And a bunch of my friends have. We went down to Austin a couple times and repeatedly got arrested there. I've actually walked into the Capitol, the capital of Texas, with my AK-47. You can't do that no longer. We pushed those limits there. But DPS is overstepping the boundaries of state laws, and we're still trying to figure all that stuff out too, but that's another story. But the first couple walks were at an adrenaline rush. It was a very big gray area. Back then the cops were trying to say, well, there's a 4201 disorderly conduct. If you're alarming somebody, I'm going to take you to jail. If somebody says you're alarming them, that means you're alarming them, and I'm taking you to jail. And we had to go through like a month of going back and forth to police departments and legislators on what does 4201 mean, what does disorderly conduct mean. Well, after it was all said and done, the disorderly conduct meant that my action, the action of the person that possessed the firearm, not how somebody felt and their irrational fears, that didn't dictate whether I was being disorderly or not. Disorderly would be me pointing my gun at somebody or doing something stupid like waving it in the air and being childish. That would be disorderly conduct. So we've had to go through gray area after gray area after gray area. But after about a year, it's totally changed. The perspective, the attitude that we get from the police officers, it's just a total 180 of what it was here in DFW Tarrant County area anyways. It just because of the persistence that we've had in our walks and the stamina that we've had in doing 3 times a week and just repeatedly pounding the information to people, whether it be the normal citizen, whether it be the police officer or a legislator. We have every legislator in Tarrant County on our side. I'm pretty sure we have almost every law enforcement besides maybe Arlington, because Arlington's always given us problems. And we'll talk about this maybe later, we've actually filed a federal claim against Arlington, and we're suing them because they're stepping on our rights. But that's a freedom of speech issue. They're not allowing us to hand out the Constitution and our information on sidewalks. But I'll get to that in a minute. But it's total 180. I mean, we used to go out, and I wasn't known. I didn't know if I was going to come home alive or what, or get kidnapped and thrown in a cage. But when I go out now, it's normal. It's I can come up to a police officer. He knows me by name. He knows exactly what we're doing. He appreciates what we're doing. Some of them even check out our guns. We talk guns with each other. It's very important to get these law enforcements on our side. I know there's many people listening probably that are like, when I say, law enforcement on our side and stuff. But once again, you have to play a game to get what you want. And not all law enforcements are bad. They're not. I know many good law enforcement that I've talked to on a person-to-person. I have their personal cell phones, and I text with them and talk. We have good law enforcement, but you do have the occasion bad law enforcement, and that's what we're trying to weed out. That's what we're trying to educate. That's what we're trying to fix. So, I think the building the relationship with the law enforcement is very important. If we have police officers coming up to us and shaking hands and smiling and then walking away, a minute or two later, and everything's fine, people are looking around like, all right, I guess everything's fine. But if you have a police officer coming up to us and throwing us on the ground and putting a knee in our back, that's a different story. We don't need that. That's going to be very bad. So we've gotten away from that. But the reason why we've gotten away from that is not because we've been, taught not to go into interaction with law enforcement, or we've straightened up and gotten better on how our attitudes are. It's not any of that. It's our education that we've been pushing out there, and it's us filling the gray areas of what the law really means on disorderly conduct and educating officers of, hey, there actually is open carry of a rifle and a shotgun here in Texas. Whether you think there is or not, there is. So after all the gray area's been filled, after a bunch of education that's been pushed out, it's done 180. And it's just normal when we go out tonight. Like tonight we went out on a walk, went out with my 6-year-old son, and it was just like walking the dog. It was normal. So, and that's what we want. We're normalizing having a gun here soon. After open carry comes, I want to make it so normal that when you walk around here in Texas and you look at somebody and you see that they have a gun, you don't even think twice about it. You think of it as almost if they have a cell phone. That's how normal it is. Say, hey, you got the new Glock 19 there with the night sights? I like that, man. Rock on. I'm getting the new one when it comes out. That's what we should be doing. It's an accessory. It's a fashion. It should be a fashion statement. Chicks should be walking around with pink and purple guns. And, It should be a fashion statement. This is an accessory.
Well,
Making it normal.
You made a good point. Look, the cops and the powers that shouldn't be are normalizing a militarized police force now, with having cops dress in black and drive around with MRAPs and, running around in camo gear with AR-15s and everything else, running around like they're in a war zone. They're trying to normalize that. So why not take a page from their playbook and try to normalize what rights we already have? Again, what you guys are doing is not really scary. What makes it scary is the person's irrational fear of it. And I think you are 100% correct about interacting with the police, because the game that's being played is the police. Look, the police are civilians. This is where people are like, no, they're not. They're police. No, they're not a special class. They're civilian, and then there's military. They are civilian. The powers that shouldn't be are playing a chess game where they're giving them propaganda. And then they also feed the hatred that we have towards the actions that these robots in uniform do. And long story short, it's this huge game of chess between the two of us. The only way to avert a violent breakdown in society sometime in the future is to do what you guys are doing by going out and reaching out to the police and talking to them. And yes, you still will have some that are robots and they'll follow orders and they don't care because maybe they're just sadistic or maybe their IQ is 80. Okay, because that's what they go for. That's what the powers that shouldn't be want to serve them. But what you guys are doing, Kory, is absolutely 110% the grassroots solution to this. I talk about this all the time when I say that we have to reach out to the police and try to re-educate them, undo the brainwashing that they've been fed. And you're not going to be able to do it with all of them, I understand. But you know what? We're going to turn the tide if we actually sit and do it. I mean, you can sit and go on Facebook and rant, or whatever social media site, and rant and rave about how bad you're pissed off about the way cops are. But it's never going to change unless we go out there and do the change ourselves. Because their higher-ups aren't going to ever stop it. They're going to continue whatever programming they're fed by their higher-ups to give to them. It's called compartmentalization. So we have to break down that robotic conditioning that these police state minions are given. We have to go out and interact with them and reach out to them as any way we can, but in a positive fashion. Okay? We have to think before we act. That's actually an important attribute. Anyway, I'm going to pause us right there because the top of the hour break is sneaking up on us. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. 3 short, quick minutes, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here on tonight's live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I am your host, Popeye, from federaljack.com. It is June 26th, 2014. Tonight, I am hanging out with my guest, Kory Watkins. He is from Open Carry Tarrant County. For some reason, every time I say the word carry tonight, I swear to God, I can't get the word out of my mouth. OpenCarryTarrant.com is the website. Again, OpenCarryTarrant.com. He's from Open Carry Tarrant County, and they work with Open Carry Texas. They work grassroots level with everybody because we're all in this together, right? So if you really want to look at it that way, but they're setting the standard. I think they're showing people what needs to be done on a grassroots level, taking back your freedom, not being afraid to interact with the police. Do I agree that cops are out of control? Yep, I talk about it all the time. But running at them headstrong, ready to fist fight them is not the answer, because that's what the powers that shouldn't be want. Problem, reaction, solution. They want you to react, and then they can bring in their solution to the problem, which they already have sitting in a drawer somewhere, right? That's the way they work. That's the way they do things. So let's flip the script on them, and let's actually change it up and do things in a positive manner. Go out and interact with police. I know a lot of times people will tell you, never talk to a cop, never interact with a cop. Well, I mean, it depends on the situation, what's going on. But a certain level of interaction, especially with video cameras and other people around, needs to happen. If we keep separating ourselves from the bullies in uniform, the gang members with their costumes on, because that's all it really is a costume that you could, maybe a more polished version of the version that you could buy from Party City, but it's nevertheless still a costume that they animate. That's what gives them the power. They themselves actually don't have the power that they think they do. When you can get past that ego-based training, you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this is much deeper. So things like what Kory and his compatriots are doing are actually very important, because you're breaking through that programming that the police receive. That's a much more base level. And when I say that, you guys understand, because you've listened to the show long enough, what I mean by base level thinking. They're at that most base level ego satanic thinking. That's what true Satanism is about. At its most basic core is about the ego and only taking care of yourself and screw everybody else around you. Well, that's kind of the basis of that programming. Why do you think they have that mindset that I'm going to go home at the end of the night to my family? They're first, which means that they can kill your dog, they can kill you. At least not they can, but in their mind it justifies it. Do you understand why it's important to break through this mindset? Okay, so yes, you have to be mindful of the police. You have to understand the law of society, understand your words, understand Black's Law Dictionary, understand all of that. But do not be afraid of interacting with these people in costumes, because that's all they are costumes, ladies and gentlemen. It's a glorified Halloween costume. Yeah, they have a gun, but you know what? They also have a brain. And quite often you can get through them, even if, yes, I know they're hiring stupider and stupider people, but that's the reason they're hiring stupider people. It's because they don't want you to be able to interact with them on a level at all. They just want somebody to stare and drool and go, okay, I point my gun at you. That's why they want dumber people in those costumes. So it's important right now. This is an important time in history to actually stand up and get involved and do something. I can't push this enough. Do you want it to get into like total tyranny? And I mean, if you don't think it's out of control already, just imagine what it could be like if people weren't standing up and doing anything. Imagine where we'd be already. It doesn't need to get there. And for the people that are the naysayers and we're screwed, this country's gone, we should just leave and go to another country. No, we shouldn't. Stop being cowards, sack up, and do something. You see Kory and all of his friends going out there and all these great people that are willing to stand up and say, hey, look, this is my right, back off. That's all they're doing. They're not terrorists. They're not extremists. They're free human beings. And I salute every one of you in all of these open carry movements across the country. You all have balls of steel, and you are leading by example. And thank you, Kory, for having the balls to do what you do. I don't sugarcoat it. I call it like it is. You guys have a brass set that wouldn't fit in a dump truck, and you're leading by example, and I salute you. So let's take a moment again, Kory, to plug all your stuff, because I want people to be able to interact with you as much as possible. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, website, anything you want. The floor is yours. Go.
Gotcha. I appreciate that, and I love how you're pushing get involved, because I push that a lot. People need to get involved. Like, I'm on my knees begging, please do something. So how you can get involved with our group, or just support us for that matter, just like our page, follow us, spread our message, whatever the case may be. Come out on a walk with us, wave a flag, grab a gun, let's go. But if you're on Facebook, you check out Open Carry Tarrant County. We have a group page that you can actually get in and mingle with all 2,500 of us. So check out Open Carry Tarrant County on Facebook. You can like our main page as well. Give it a like and share our posts and all that stuff. If you like, if you share, if you tell people about it, that helps our cause. That's helping. That is getting involved. Doesn't sound like it, but that is part of getting involved, just spreading a message and sharing it. On Twitter, if you're a tweeter, you can do @OpenCarryTC. That's @OpenCarryTC, and the TC is for Tarrant County. You can check us out on YouTube, Open Carry Tarrant County. You can search the Instagram. We just made the account, so I don't know it off the top of my head. But if you hashtag Open Carry on Twitter or on Instagram, you're going to find us. And you can email us, opencarrytc@yahoo.com. Or you can check out the web page if you're not a Facebooker because you don't do that stuff, or Twitter because you don't like the NSA spying on you, whatever the case may be. You can check out our web page, and that's opencarrytarrant.com. And the web page is rather new. It's just a simple one page. We're grassroots. We're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on stuff. We're just trying to get a simple message across and trying to be as neat as possible about it and professional as possible about it without spending lots and lots of money. So check us out. Get involved some way or another. If you're in the DFW area, please get into our group and start walking, start just engaging with people and educating. If you're in Texas, I need you to get plugged in somewhere. That way we can call these representatives, get involved, do something. If you know me 4 years ago and you know me now, I'm really different because I didn't used to be involved politically, not at all. I didn't have an interest one bit, but I understand our process now and what our founders put in place. That way, if something did go wrong, like what's happening right now in our country, not just with gun rights, but other stuff too, we can have a redress of a grievance, we can get involved, and we can fix the problems. Now, when there's only 8 to 10% of the people voting and 3% of those people are actually awake, that is a problem. So we need more people getting involved, and I know some people are like, I don't want to vote. I can't stand that crap. Well, you're just going to keep living in it then because that's a part of the process. If you don't want to vote, spread the message about somebody who's running that represents liberty and freedom and get other people to vote for him, if that's what it takes. I don't know what it is that I can do to get everybody involved as possible, but I'm willing to try something for everybody. I believe in liberty and freedom, so I don't want to press my beliefs on you, on how you should get involved, but I'm urging people to get involved somehow or another, whatever way you see fit. So that's how you can get in touch with us.
The answer is not from the top down, it's from the bottom up. See, I don't agree with voting for presidents because they're selected, but there is a certain level where voting does change things, and on the local level is where it does. And that's where the real change starts, Kory. Grassroots, local level. And you can look at that two ways. The local level as, your local area, or even the local level of inside of yourself. That's why the Freemasons use the law of correspondence as a motto. As above, so below. That's the law of correspondence. What it's referring to is, like in the micro will be in the macro. So if you change, like you said, 4 years ago, you're a completely different person than what you were. I agree. I am completely different than what I was before 9/11. 9/11 profoundly changed me, and then that led me, on a very, drastically different path than many people that were changed by it. But I'm a different person. I'm not that I'm a different person. I'm just more focused on more important issues. And there are people that will say to me that knew me when I was younger, wow, you're just a complete different person, Popeye. You're just different. Well, because I changed in the micro and now I'm help changing the macro. So are you. Like you changed, you're more oriented about what's going on, more liberty, freedom, just trying to understand, evolve your mind. And by doing that, you're changing yourself in the micro, right? As above, so below. So as above, you're changing yourself, and so below, we'll say that the macro, the rest of the universe, will change because you're changing, and that is the same way it works with grassroots organizations and standing up and doing something. That's why real change comes from the ground level up. Begging the United States government to do something for you, or not do something to you, or to keep a right that you already have, is really pointless. I mean, that's like asking the bully that's about to punch you in the face, could you make it not hurt so much? Could you hit me only up here in the temple, or maybe on the right side of the cheek, because I'm getting photos taken tomorrow of the left side of my face, and I want it to look good. Can you only smash in the right side of my face? You're asking the people that are trying to violate your rights to not violate them so much, or can I please have my rights? No, you are your own supreme super being. Everybody out there. Real change comes from within you, and understanding that on a level for yourself also will help you understand how just by changing, like, look at Kory. Say 4 years ago he was more party oriented, and I'm not saying you were, but let's say you were all party oriented, woohoo, right? And now you're focused on, wow, there's a problem. My freedoms could be taken away. And by you changing on the inside, now you're going out and you're participating in these Open Carry Tarrant County walks, and help working with Open Carry Texas and all these other groups. And you're here on the show tonight talking to me, and just by having this conversation, people are hearing us, and it's changing their mindsets, or it's inspiring them. Look how just a small change of your mindset has bled out into the macro. It's amazing, and that's why what you guys are doing is so important, Kory. So I salute you again, sir.
It's wild, man, and I'm glad you brought up the whole local issue, because I'm not big on the Washington, D.C. and the federal and Congress and all that. That's like so far gone. We're in trouble there. But locally, we still have it locally, and I have proof of that because I'm an elected official myself. I came in, probably 4 years ago into the Republican Party, getting involved in stuff, and I was interested in taking a small local position. I just wanted to install myself because I knew that I was a strict constitutionalist and somebody that truly understood what liberty and freedom meant. So I wanted to install myself into a spot where I could spread that a little bit more. And the more I got to know my opponent and the more I heard about her, it was meant to be that I ran against her. She was probably the most moderate, unconservative, pretender Republican you could get. And she'd been there for 20-something years. She held her position for 10 years. She was president of the Southeast Tarrant County Republican Party. People told me I had no shot, no chance. I took this lady out. I got 60% of the vote. I installed somebody that is so liberty, freedom-minded person that some of the Republicans are scared of me. They call me a radical, an extremist, because of my true meaning of liberty and freedom that I see. And their big government, I want to tell you what to do and control your life, and what they see of liberty and freedom is a little bit different. But the local level is very changeable. And not only my position have I seen it, just locally like that, but in our county, we have, like our county chairman, she was hosting Ron Paul events in her house in 2008. And now she's our county chairman. And our county party, as Republicans, has improved dramatically towards liberty and freedom. And it's because people in this area, a bunch of friends of mine, have gotten involved and installed ourselves into these positions so we can be the people doing these things. Because if we're not, other people are. And those other people, I guarantee you, they're apathetic to what liberty and freedom truly means. They're apathetic to what our founders intended and what the Constitution really intends. So local government is so important. We still have a chance at state. I mean, we had two people we had way more people run for representative, but we had two people get 2% away from winning state representative spots. And these people are Ron Paulers, liberty, freedom, strict constitutionalist. We were 2% away from getting two more of those down into Austin. And the more people that we can install into the system who are for the people, by the people, we're going to be a lot better off. So locally it does matter, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, it really does. I mean, that's where change, really does come, because, real things can happen if you have a local tyrant in your city council, remove him. I mean, I've been part of efforts that did that. I had a mayor from at the time that the city I was living in, we got our water from the city next door. So when we were talking about fluoride and stuff, I had to go over to the neighboring city council meetings. And the mayor that was there was this mini tyrant, and if he didn't like you, he would use his cops and his code enforcement people to harass activists in his town. Well, he couldn't use them because I didn't live in his city. So they called the FBI on me and had the FBI come to my door at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you know what I did in return? I made it my mission to get the guy voted out. And 6 months later, I helped the citizens of that city do just that. Because I have a big mouth, I have a website, and I have a radio show. And you should really watch who you piss off, right? So I helped make change locally because the guy, I know the mayor that they put in to replace this guy. He was a believer in a lot of the same philosophies of freedom that are talked about in the liberty movement. He knows about the CIA running drugs and things like that. So he knows about fluoride. So at least he's actually done a lot of positive things for that community since he's gotten in years ago. And that's how, I mean, it doesn't stop the president right away, but eventually if you actually start to do things from the ground up, you'll make the powers that shouldn't be irrelevant. See, that's how we beat them. We can't try to run at them head on because they have this endless supply of money and supplies with, in certain regards. So, we could hold our own, I guess, to a certain extent, but it would be like butting head with a brick wall. So we're just going to sit here and smash our head against a brick wall, and eventually we're going to bleed out and give ourselves a brain hemorrhage and probably die, right? So that wall can hold up longer than our forehead can. So we have to use our brain in a more logical manner instead of just smashing it against the wall. We have to think, how can we make these people irrelevant? How do we make it so that it really doesn't matter if they sit there and run around and we're going to kick your ass, we're bullies, we're going to do, you're not important anymore, man. You know what? Pack your crap and leave because nobody cares about what you have to say. I mean, there's 500, 600 of them in total, all together with all the politicians and Congress and senators and then people behind the scenes in the White House and all the czars. Maybe 500, 600 of them in Washington, and how many million of us? I mean, you don't even need a physical bloody revolution to happen. That's why I have these conversations, because the powers that shouldn't be want to steer it towards that. Because 230 some odd years ago, they couldn't control that except for having army versus militia and the original Continental Army that George Washington put together. That's how they could handle it. Fast forward 200 and some odd years, they've already thought about that, and they've said, well, okay, we can't do that anymore because Americans would stand up. They have the Second Amendment. How can we subvert them? They get us to tear ourselves apart. They get us to fight at each other, to disagree, to be afraid of one another. That's how this country is going to go down if we allow it to happen, by us tearing it apart ourselves. And that's what they're doing. The only way that we can stop this insanity, literally, is to take a step back, think with a little bit of logic, and then start acting on that logic and make these people irrelevant, because that's why we see them screaming and trying to pass laws and putting more troops on the street and giving the MRAPs out. It's fear. They need you and me and everybody else to be afraid of them, because it's like a bully. They're still trying to assert their relevance. Like, I'm going to kick your ass. Kory, I'm going to come beat you up. You better be afraid of me. Look, I have a shiny badge and a uniform and a gun. I'm going to come get you. And you're like, man, you're not scary to me. We're on the same team. Sit down and have a cup of coffee with me and let's talk. And by doing that, by the way, with the police, you deprogram them to a certain extent. And again, now you're making, that's why it's important to reach out to them, because if we can help them to understand what's going on, that they are just dogs. Literally. That's why when I was in the military, we were issued dog tags. I mean, the powers that shouldn't be, the very high level people. I've had people on, like my good friend Mark Passio, talking about this, where he knew high level people that were higher up in some of these real satanic, behind the scenes evil. And when I say that's not hyperbole, I mean like real, like black robed, going and doing ceremonies type satanic, like evil. And they called the military and the police their pets. And these were high-ranking individuals, by the way, in power, certain power structures. He's talked about this with me before. The point is, they call the police and the military their dogs, their pets. I don't call you officers my pets. You're not my pet. You're my fellow human being that's being lied to and programmed. I understand maybe on a different level, and I get mad the way they interact with people. Don't get me wrong, but I understand on a different level because I went through basic training and I was in the military, so I understand what mind control is about. Okay, I've literally gone through it myself. So I have a better understanding. So I don't want, and I have an understanding of the bigger picture. We don't want to fight you, police. Okay, none of us as the general public really want to fight you. We don't like what you're doing. We think a lot of you need to knock it off, and there are some bad apples that really need to be they need to be handled. But this is all stuff that we need to have a real conversation about and not be afraid to talk to each other. See, that's the first and biggest problem is people are afraid to interact with each other and police because now I'm not making fun of it. I mean, anytime someone sees a cop car or a cop in uniform, now you get all anxious about it, and we shouldn't be like that. Okay, and the police, you shouldn't have the attitude of we're at war with civilians and they're all scum because you're a civilian too. And again, that's why I know I'm bloviating a little bit here, but it's important to talk about this and get this out there because, look, cops, you're not better than us. You are us, and we are you. We're all on the same team. And as soon as you realize that, the people that pretend to have power, their supposed power ends. That's why it's important to get out and talk to these sheriffs and these police officers and have these interactions like you guys do. That's why I said what you do, Kory, is super amazing because you guys have the courage to go out. I mean, it does take a brass set to walk out with a gun strapped to your back. You don't know if the cops are going to overreact and shoot you. I mean, that's actually not hyperbole. That's actually a real world scenario that happens where cops overreact for the stupidest of reasons and shoot at people nowadays. So I don't think we need gun control. I think we need cop control. If we need any bill passed by Congress, it should be cop control bills. Okay. And I'm serious. Like SWAT team raids need to be cut back. This mentality needs to be cut back, but they're never going to do that. So we need to do that. We need to reach out to them and make them understand that they're not a special class above the ordinary citizen, that they are the ordinary citizen, that we're all on the same team. And these open carry marches are a real good example of that. We got about a minute and a half before the break comes up, Kory. I want you to really quick again plug the website and plug Twitter and Facebook again and YouTube and everything so people can participate.
Okay. We're going to have time after the break for a little bit longer, right?
Oh, yeah. We got about another half hour afterwards, so don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, then let me plug this real quick. Facebook is Open Carry Tarrant County. You can check out our main page or go into our group page and chat with the 2,500 members we have. Once again, on Facebook, that's Open Carry Tarrant County. On Twitter, we're at Open Carry TC. So on Twitter, we're at Open Carry TC. You can check out our website, opencarrytarrant.com. You can email us, opencarrytc@yahoo.com, or you can check out our YouTube's videos. Just search Open Carry Tarrant County on YouTube. You can go on Instagram and just search for the hashtag Open Carry. I'm pretty sure you'll find plenty of pictures. And it's easy to get a hold of us, mingle with us, interact with us. We want you walking. We want you talking to representatives, talking to other people, whatever the case may be. But the most active social media is Facebook, and that's Open Carry Tarrant County. So check us out.
Cool. Thanks, Kory. So we're going to be going to break in a second here. And again, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons I think it's so important, it's not even just about the surface level of them walking around with their firearms. And yes, we have firearms freedom because, again, that's a base level thought. It's much deeper than that. It's a conversation starter with police and just ordinary citizens that maybe have irrational, fear-based paranoia about firearms. Maybe, just maybe, make a change. Much deeper. It's not just about walking around with your gun. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Final segment, tonight's live edition, Down the Rabbit Hole. If you believe in freedom, if you understand what we're talking about, I urge you to share the archive of this show later on with friends, loved ones, people that you want to wake up. I urge you to go out and be the change that you actually want to see in the world. And that's not just a slogan, it's actually a perspective. Like I've said to you before, love is not just a word, it's a perspective. Well, if you love your fellow man and if you love humanity enough that you don't want to see things continue on the track that they are, then stand up and do something. And again, that's why I salute Kory and all his fellow compatriots that come out there and do the walks and put themselves at a certain level. You guys are putting yourselves in a certain amount of danger, because there still is a lot of irrational fear out there, and you never know, somebody could react based on their irrational based fear. And I salute you guys, and ladies that show up. You all are. It takes courage to do what you're doing, but again, you're trying to be the change that you actually want to see in the world, and that's a positive, real world solution. And again, that's why I'm glad I got a chance to sit with you and talk to you tonight, Kory, because you are an example to others, and I know there will be people that will be inspired just from hearing this conversation between the two of us tonight, and that's awesome. Now, I'm going to give you the floor, but I know there's two things you wanted to talk about. So first, go ahead and explain to everybody why you keep talking about long guns and why you haven't said carry pistols in Texas, because from what I understand, open carrying pistols is illegal, so I'll let you get into that in detail. And then I wanted to pick your brain about, you were talking about Arlington, Texas, and the fact that you guys are banned from handing out pocket constitutions in Arlington, or they're giving you problems with that. And I know that has something to do, obviously, with the fact that you're walking around doing open carry stuff, and while you're, like you said earlier, you're walking around, you're giving out literature. So now your First Amendment right is being censored, and I'm sure they're not happy about the fact that you guys are walking around with long guns. But go ahead, explain the long gun situation thing first, and the open carry pistol situation, and then hop into the Arlington thing for the listeners.
Yes, here in Texas, we're one of 5 states that don't allow open carry with your handgun, your pistol, your modern day handgun. You can't do it. If I was to strap on my Glock 19 or my Springfield, whatever you have, I'm a felon. I'm a criminal, and I would be incarcerated and kidnapped and thrown in a cage. And so we're trying to change that here in Texas. The legislation's ignored us. Voting hasn't done it. We kind of ran out of options, and it seems like grassroots, getting out on the streets, educating the people is the way to go. So what more of a shock factor, or, hey, look at me, come talk to me, better than having a rifle or a shotgun? People are, they see it. It's a big thing that's not normal for people to see. So a lot of your gun owners, a lot of people who are normalized to guns will come talk to you and wonder what you're doing and figure out what you're doing, and that's what we want. Those people, we get sucked into our movement, and they understand what the process is and what we're trying to do and how to get involved in contacting our legislators and whatever the case may be of how you want to go about it. But we're one of 5 states that don't allow open carry with your pistol. That is the main reason we're walking around with the guns, the rifles and the shotguns, is because we're not allowed to walk around with our pistols. So we want to show the stupidity that, hey, look at this. I have an AK-47. It's got a 100-round drum, but my Glock 19 with 17-round magazine, 9mm, is I'm a criminal. I'm a felon. It just doesn't make sense. So, and once people understand that, like, oh, I get it, okay. And so it's a little bit different once you understand what we're doing. Some people are like, oh, you guys are just a bunch of buttholes walking around scaring kids and causing attention and thinking you're cool, and that's not what it's about. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. I haven't come into any encounters where we've just scared the crap out of somebody. I've been on hundreds and hundreds of walks, and I'm not exaggerating, really, hundreds and hundreds of walks, and I've never just seen somebody that we've just scared the poo out of. So all these things that people get on information obviously come from the media and the TV and stuff to condition them into thinking we are the boogeyman. So here in Texas, our only constitutional means of carrying a firearm, and if you understand what I mean by constitutional means, it means no license, no regulations, no tax, no fingerprints, no CHL, none of that crap. It's all infringement. My only means of constitutionally carrying a firearm for protection is a long gun in Texas. That's the only way you can do it. Now, we've come to find out a couple months after we were doing the long guns, we ran into Jerry Patterson and him explaining some stuff to us about the black powder revolvers. If you know your firearms, you understand what a black powder revolver is. Here in Texas, if you have a black powder revolver that is pre-1899 or replica of, you can open carry that. That is a firearm. That is a type of handgun, but it is under law in Texas not counted as a firearm, and it's exempt from all laws. The only thing I have to do to buy this is to show my ID to prove that I'm 18 years or older. There is no background check. You go into a store, you just show them your ID. It's like buying a pack of cigarettes. Boom, boom, and you're done. The black powder revolver is exempt from the law. You can carry it in TBAC areas where the TBAC won't even allow you with a concealed handgun license or other firearms. You can go into there. It is exempt from the law 100%. It is counted as an antique. It's not a firearm in the state of Texas, even though you can load it and you can kill somebody with it. You know, I have one myself. I walk around with it every now and then. I prefer the shock factor of my AK-47, though, because I get more people's attention and I engage into more conversations when I have that on, and I normalize firearms a little bit more when I have a bigger gun. It's a shock factor. Ooh, look at that.
I do have to agree that it does also help point out the insanity of the fact that you can walk around with an AK-47 and a drum magazine, but a Glock makes you a felon. Like, what? Really?
Yep.
If you want to sit down and think about it, which one of those two do you think you could possibly do more harm with if you intended to do harm? So why is technically the bigger, scarier looking one legal, yet the smaller one's not? See, I think that probably goes back to, I'm sure that law is probably based, if you research the history of it or something, I'm sure there's got to be some history of probably dating back to maybe time of like gunfighters, when that's all they really, more people were carrying pistols. And I guess maybe also the thinking behind it could be, well, it's easier for somebody to draw a pistol on somebody. But if you're walking around with an AR-15 strapped to you, I'm pretty sure you know how to sling it and shoulder your weapon and come up on target real quick. So I don't think that I don't think that banning open carry of a pistol, but not a long gun, makes any sense at all. It's just, you're right. It really does point out a glaring, like, insane point. Like, this doesn't make any sense. That's a stupid rule. Like, what you guys need to do is challenge that. Gun owners in Texas need to challenge that and call them on the carpet and say, why is it that we can carry long guns but not pistols? Pistols should be all right too. And then if they try to say, well, maybe we won't let you carry long guns. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. We want pistols. See, you need everybody. I'm just saying. I'm not telling anybody in Texas what to do, by the way. I'm just saying, if I were there, and if I was involved in gun rights activism like you guys are, I would definitely, that would be on the agenda. Which I'm sure Texas is full of good, well-intentioned, intelligent, smart, loving people that love freedom and love their fellow human beings. So I'm sure somebody will probably, if not already doing it, will take that up with the powers that shouldn't be in your state. And you guys need to hold their feet to the fire, definitely, and show them that you're the bosses and not them. I mean, if more people did this and we started showing these people that are supposedly in charge that we're actually in charge, things would change for the better really quick. So I know you also wanted to get into, because we got about 15 minutes left. I know you wanted to get into this Arlington, Texas thing and how they're pretty much blocking your First Amendment rights. And my question is, are they messing with you guys with the open carry too? So floor is yours. Go ahead, get into it.
Well, we've been doing these walks in Tarrant County area for over a year now. A lot of them have been in Arlington, and it's not because we want to pick on Arlington Police Department or anything like that. It's because the central location of Tarrant County has a lot to do with Arlington. So if we're going to have a walk or a meeting or anything, that it's just convenient to have it in the center location of where our area is. That way people aren't driving across the counties and stuff. So we do a lot of action in Arlington. A lot of the roads are busy, so we can have people interact with us as well. You know, education is part of the process, so we want to educate a lot of people in a short amount of period of time. When we've started these walks, we've encountered APD to be, and when I say APD, I mean Arlington Police Department, to be a little bit more ridiculous and over the top than some of these other police departments. You know, at first we had 10 cars coming out, following us around on walks. Some of our members were being followed home in unmarked police cars and being harassed. We had several members handcuffed while they were armed for no apparent reason. People have been illegally detained and held, just all kinds of stuff. And it's just kind of gotten ridiculous as far as just following us around and babysitting us. We've come across some emails that we've dug up through personal records. I'm sorry, not personal records, but records that, what do we call it? I'm sorry, I'm lost. We inquire through the city.
Like Freedom of Information Act request?
There you go. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. Thank you for saying that. We've been doing that with emails and stuff like that. And we found some pretty interesting stuff with some of the police chiefs there, or even some of the city council members. We're actually trying to obtain 650 pages of emails that were sent out from a different email, secret kind of email, under one of the city council members' email. It was like a secondary email that he had, but it's public information, so we're trying to acquire some of those. Just all kinds of stuff going down here in Arlington. The city council has definitely had it out for us, and they've singled us out. So has the police department. We have video of people collecting money and donations and handing out stuff time and time and time again in Arlington, but nothing happens to them. But when we go out, we get harassed, we get watched, babysitted, told them, you know, after a little bit, they couldn't harass us about the guns and stuff anymore, so they started telling us, well, you guys are out here handing out information and stuff, and that's illegal. We're going to start writing you tickets. Well, they couldn't tell us what for or why or anything like that, and so they dug up some city ordinance. We actually found it for them. We were digging through their city ordinances, and we showed them one that could possibly pertain to us, so they said, yep, that's the one. They're going to stick it to us. So we decided to have an event where, because when we go out on walks, we hand out business cards that have all of our information on it, all the stuff that I've been plugging tonight. They have all that information on it, and we have pocket constitutions that we hand out. If you're involved in the Liberty Movement or you know about Ron Paul, you've heard about the pocket constitutions, you know what they are. We order like 1,000 at a time and stuff, and we just hand them out. They started telling us that we were going to get tickets for this, so we were like, okay, we'll see about that. We made it an event where it was called the Constitutional Handout, and we went to Arlington. I think we had 75, 80 people all out there, rifles, shotguns, handing out constitutions, and anyways, they didn't do anything to us then. I guess, a couple days later, we went out there, and they ended up writing us 2 tickets. They cited 2 of our members' tickets for handing out constitutions and information. And their thing is if somebody's at a stoplight, we're not allowed to go from the sidewalk to the side of their car and hand them information. They're saying that we can't do that. That is an obvious violation of freedom of speech. The streets and the sidewalks are there put there for the people, and you can't tell me that you're going to protect my safety and take away my freedom of speech in order to protect me. It doesn't work like that. You know, government's job is to keep me free and to protect my liberties, not to use safety as an excuse to take my liberty and freedom. So that's what we're trying to get to them. But they put the city ordinance under review after a little bit, after they wrote us those tickets and stuff. So we kind of knew we were on to something once they did that. We got them to put the ordinance on hold, and they actually told everybody that they weren't going to cite no more tickets or do anything until the ordinance was resolved. So a couple weeks later, we got some mail in the mailbox that said our tickets have been dismissed. Their tickets that we originally got had been dismissed. So that was another win for us. They ended up, we went through like 3 months of city council meetings, trying to do this the correct way, going to the police department, urging them to, do away with this ordinance. They can't control people's freedom of speech on a sidewalk. It just doesn't work like that. So anyways, they revamped the city ordinance and put the fine up a little bit more. It was $175. Now it's like $500. And they told us that they were going to arrest us, whatever they had to do to keep us off the streets and stop us from doing what we were doing. So I told them, I'll see you in court. So we raised some money. We got a lawyer together who was a good buddy of ours, really good, strict constitutional lawyer. We filed a federal claim against the city of Arlington, against their city ordinance 15.03C, I think it is, or 15, because they changed it. So now it's 15.03C. And basically we're just trying to take them to the federal court to prove what they're doing is unconstitutional, it's unjust, and we're trying to reverse the law. And we're kind of in the middle of that right now. It's actually the beginning stages. We'll kind of find out a little bit more in the beginning of July on what's going on here. We're doing all we can to fight this, and we're trying to go about it the correct way. And I think we have a good shot at it. So we'll see what happens. But they're trying to restrict our freedom of speech, and it's based off just the group who we are. And I think they thought we were just going to lay down and kind of go away, but I don't think they understood what they were working with. And we raised money and got a lawyer and went to work. So we're standing up for what we believe in. We're standing up for our rights. Just because somebody tells us one thing, we're not going to just obey it and say, okay, well, that's what they said, so that's what we got to go with. Well, no, we're going to challenge it. We're standing up for what we believe in, and more people need to do it. If people have been doing this since our founding fathers had put in place what they did, we wouldn't be doing this right now. It would all be good. So we're just doing what we think is right. And I want to touch another thing. Not to get off topic or anything, but my group, our group, Open Carry Tarrant County, is an amazing group. We do all kinds of charity stuff as well as open carry walks, and I know the media won't talk about that, but we've done trash pickups. We've gone to horse rescues and painted fences and done all kinds of work. We're here and there. We've donated, water to the fire departments in needs. So we're getting involved in the community as well. And I'm only one person in this whole group. I know some people look to me as like the go-to guy, but I'm just one single guy in this group of many wonderful patriots. And if it wasn't for every single body in my group doing something, being active politically or calling their representative or going out on an open carry walk or sharing our post on Facebook or whatever the case may be, is if they weren't doing what they were doing, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So I give all my credit, all the stuff that's pushed onto me, all my thank yous, all my gratitude, I give it back to the group, because without my group, without our group and our sticking together and believing in each other, we wouldn't be where we're at. We wouldn't be in the Rolling Stone magazine this month. We wouldn't be on the front page of Yahoo and the hot topic in the country right now. So, I'm only one guy, and I'm only doing what I can, but it's my group that that is doing all this work. So I give all the credit back to the group.
Well, I always push the idea of teamwork here on the broadcast, and you guys are actually a physical representation of that. You have people coming, together that didn't know each other in many cases before this, and you're all coming together because you realize you do have something in common, and that's freedom. And in doing so, I'm sure you're forging new relationships and new friendships that you'll probably, in some cases, keep for life. And you're at the same time, you're influencing the whole world around you by doing what you're doing. And again, it's not, people need to look at it beyond just the base of, you guys are walking around with guns. It's not what the news media would want you, the general public, to believe, that Kory and his compatriots are just walking around because they want to flash their guns and they're bullies and they're trying to scare people. That's the most base level fear-induced thinking that the media wants you to think on. They don't want you to think outside of that ego-based, totally base-level fear-thinking vibe. They want you to stay at the lowest level possible so they can control you. They don't want you to actually hear what someone like Kory has to say and realize that, wow, okay, the gun is not just about walking around with a gun. It's about opening a dialogue with other humans. That's how we're going to fix this. They've literally got us to shut ourselves off from each other and stop the discussion. And I actually did a show about this like 2 weeks ago. I called it Bridging the Human Divide. I urge the listeners to go listen to it. It's in my archives, YouTube, federaljack.com, truthfrequencyradio.com. Go listen to it. It's called Bridging the Human Divide. Okay, they're literally stopping us from communicating with one another. And what you're doing, Kory, and your compatriots are doing all over the country with doing these open carry rallies, even if you guys don't realize it, some of you might just still, some of the people that are involved might just be like, well, it's for gun rights. No, what you guys are doing is so much deeper, because you're engaging your fellow humans and you're causing them to be forced to interact with you and have logical conversations. And the outcome is you're actually changing things for the better. So again, I salute you and all of your fellow freedom-loving individuals and humans that go out there and do what they do. We're running out of time, Kory. So we got a few minutes left. I want you to, again, one more time, I want you to plug the site, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and anything else, YouTube, anything else you want to throw out there. You got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Go ahead.
All right, brother. I appreciate you letting me on and just letting me ramble tonight. It's a good feeling to know that I'm doing a interview or a radio show with somebody who I don't have to tiptoe around and think 40 times before I say something, so I know I'm not saying the wrong thing. It's kind of interesting when you get into a mainstream media interview, because your brain is going 100 miles an hour thinking, okay, can I say that word before it comes out of my mouth? And so anyways, but I appreciate you letting me on and rambling. I'm going to spread your link around and tell everybody to come lend their ear to you and support you, so I appreciate that. But again, our plugs are Facebook is Open Carry Tarrant County. So get on Facebook, go on the search bar, and just search for Open Carry Tarrant County. And there's a main page that you can like and follow, and then you can get into our group page and have discussion with us. We have about 2,500 members in there. You can get on Twitter, if you're a tweeter, and get us at Open Carry TC. Once again, that's at Open Carry TC. You can get on YouTube channel, Open Carry Tarrant County. Just search for Open Carry Tarrant County on YouTube. Check out Instagram. Search for hashtag Open Carry. You'll find us. And then if you are not a Facebook or a social media person, you just do internet as far as web pages, check out our webpage. It's opencarrytarrant.com. And once again, that's opencarrytarrant.com. We need people getting out there in the streets, walking around, educating people on the phones, emailing reps, sharing our information, Facebook and Twitter. We are the opposite of what the mainstream media is doing, and we need more people doing it. We are the power. We, the people, are the power. We need your help.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Kory, again, it's an honor to talk to you, sir, and thank you so much for coming on. And I will have you back on in the future to pick your brain and go over other things and, update everybody. And if there's ever any problem or anything, you guys have any issues out there, you immediately contact me and I'll get you on and, we'll get you some airtime.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem, dude. Stay there and I'll say goodbye to you off air. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. Again, go check their website out, Tarrant.com, opencarrytarrant.com. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere else they are.
This is Sparta!
That's right, Leonidas. It's time to stand up. Assert your freedom. You don't have to ask for it. You already have it. You need to tell them. You're irrelevant. I'm a free human being. Done. The solutions to our problems, ladies and gentlemen, are an inside job. I love you all, and I'll catch you all again tomorrow night. I'm out of here.